Hi, editor's note, before I get on this very long, very drawn out rant, let me say, if you didn't realize it by the title, anything about this video, my past video on this subject, I fucking hate this show. I hate Rebecca Sugar. She's not a queen. She's not a savior. She didn't do something revolutionary. I don't even feel like this show was even decent at this point. It was at one point, but at this point, it's garbage. I feel disgusted by this. I feel like, and I'm saying this all because my points are kind of sometimes all over the place, so let me just say this clearly at first. It's a toxic show. It shows toxic behavior. The characters in this show, almost all of them, show toxic, gross behavior that should not be celebrated in any way, shape, or form, and were not handled very well. Rebecca Sugar is not some god. She's a panderer. She pandered to what she thought people might want to see. She knew people might want to see a show focusing on mental health, gay rights, rather just LGBT rights, and she pandered to that. The only good relationship in this show is Garnet's. That's it. But she gave LGBT people a voice. Bullshit. She showed toxic growth relationships and only pointed out one as being bad. This is basically a fanfic gone wrong to me. Now, the way I felt about her show was the way I feel about every other generic fanfic or generic anime. Nothing special. That's how I feel about Little Witch Academia. It's just really pretty looking. That's about it. It's a polished turd. It's a rusted up plate, spray painted silver. Not even that, spray painted gold, apparently, to everyone else. Now, I feel that way. Those are my feelings. You don't have to. You can feel like this show changed your life. I've seen too many kids and grown adults crying, upset because the show is over and it touched their hearts and their lives. First of all, don't take this show as how you should act in life, and you will be told by your friends that or people that love you that you're an asshole. But second, if that's how you feel, if you love all of this and you thought this was a great show, that's great. I don't. But if you do, that's okay. I know I seem very angry in this video, but it's because I am, and it was like maybe a few hours after this whole thing ended, but that's great. But stop gassing her head up. Just know other people feel differently. Other people don't see it the same way you do. Some people pick it apart, like me. Some people see every flaw that she made in the show and have now seen it and been like, this is doo-doo. I don't ever want to see this ever again. I'm glad it's gone. You may think differently, that's fine. If you want to trash on me in the comments, that's fine. Just, if nothing, don't be all white knighty for this show. If you have valid points, because I know I fucked up in this whole thing. If you have valid points, if you can actually call me out, not just say, well, I think that this is what she tried to do. I don't care what she tried to do. This is what is seen and this is what she did. But if you have valid points, you can voice them in the comment section. I probably won't be responding in the comment section because I've been busy lately. But if you genuinely like this show, just like how you felt with this show, this is a safe place to voice how much you hate my opinion. And that is okay. Sorry that was long. On to the rest of the video. Okay, see, the first few videos I made, I was raging, I was yelling, I was upset, and literally you can hear me screeching. But I re-recorded this one because it's been some hours, and I watched the finale, and I calmed down, I talked about it, and I think I finally realized why I hate this show so much. It's because this show relates to a different version of it. See, this show relates to the people who watch it. Young children. Especially because it's on Cartoon Network. I'm not just saying this because I think it's a childish show. I'm saying this because it's on Cartoon Network and literally children are watching it. Like, that's its main demographic. And this reminds me of watching Sailor Moon or Naruto or shows like that, like animes that give you this false sense of you can solve every problem with friendship, violence is never needed, and as long as you're a main character and cute, you don't have to pay for any of the consequences to your actions. And looking back on those shows and stuff like that now, I realize how terrible it was. I hated it. I look back on shows like that now and I just can't help but pick them apart because their logic makes no sense. The way they treat their characters makes no sense. This plot, the character, it all just is just a jumbled mess. And that's kind of how I feel about Steven Universe this week. But before I say anything else, hi, how are you? Welcome back. If you saw my first video, you know I don't really like this show very much. Really, you can hear that from the intro. And I've come to talk about it because literally I just watched today, maybe 4 hours ago, I want to say, I watched the last episode of Steven Universe Future. Now, I'm going to say this up front because me and even my boyfriend agree with this, and obviously that's our opinion, but the last episode should have been the first episode, and the first episode should have followed everything else. So I want to say from Prickly Pear to the last episode, all of that should have been like the first few episodes, and it should have been from everything going past that. And here's why. This show has this problem with wanting to be realistic and having a realistic, deep, important message, but not using the common sense it would take to relay that message in a healthy and relevant way. And I say healthy because it relays the message, it just also relays all these unhealthy, toxic messages on top of that. And I'm not going to go into, in this video anyways, I'm not going to go into the deepness of what I'm talking about, but very clear example. Amethyst, Lapis, and the diamonds. These are easy examples. These aren't even the ones that I really want to touch on, but these are easy examples of people who are toxic, who, guess what, children? You shouldn't just allow into your life. Prime example, Lapis. I've said this before. She's the worst person. Being a bitch and saying that you're a bitch isn't cute. It's not, oh, I'm just a bitch sometimes. You can't do that. She's hurt people. She hurt Peridot's feelings. Like, listen, I feel for Peridot through her whole journey with Lapis, because Lapis was the worst person. And it's almost like, again, this thought that you can just pout, say sorry, and let it fly is crazy to me. You can't do that. You're a toxic person if you do that, and you're not helping your friend if you let them slide with that. Well, you know, with Lapis, she never really even changed from that. You could tell in the other episode, she never really grew from that. The problems that she had just went away. She never became a better person. It's just the problems that she had went away, so she never had to confront all of the bitchiness she had inside her until the episode with the other Lapises. And even then, she still didn't really do anything. It was literally just like the same thing with Peridot, where she kind of, I said I'm sorry, and that was the end of it. Literally, you just repeated an action that we thought you got over. Even the only reason she stopped herself was because she saw Steven silently judging her in like almost like a playful way, like, Lapis, don't hurt them and try to kill them. Lapis. Like what? No, that's like, okay, Lapis, you need to take a break and actually take time to work on yourself at that point. No, she didn't. It was just like, Lapis, and Lapis just like, I'm sorry, and then we let it go. A more extreme example would be, well, no, it's not a more extreme example. It's just, I think, one of the most shocking examples I think I passed over first watching the show. It was the episode with Amethyst and Greg, and how Amethyst just turned into Greg's dead wife. And even the way Greg said, Amethyst, don't do this again, she did it again. Like, this isn't the first time that she's turned into your dead wife or hurt you in this way. Like, and again, it was kind of like, Amethyst, that's not a good thing to do, and you know it, and you low-key traumatized Steven by doing that, or at least bothered him. And she just cleaned the garage and was just pouting like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, and let it go. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I love that. It's not toxic at all. Another thing, kids, this is just something I said in the last video, but I think no one really saw this, and still, I just don't get it. If someone like Jasper tells you to leave them alone, leave them alone. Because when you want to be left alone, like in the episodes recently with Steven, oh my god, everyone left him alone. It's almost like because he's a main character, everyone all of a sudden respected his wishes and did what he asked. But then again, thinking about Steven, they've always done what he's wanted them to do. He's always gotten what he wanted. And when he did it, he would either pitch a fit, he would get frustrated, and someone would have to help him or feel bad, like, Steven, oh no, I'm so sorry. Like, even with Connie, he like had a whole, that was part of his built up anger, because Connie didn't want to, not necessarily didn't want to be with him, just didn't want to marry him right then and there. Just because he didn't have a full on tantrum like the last time, doesn't mean that wasn't still like, what, why are you mad about that? Why are you even upset about that? She just doesn't want to marry you right now. And what was that going to accomplish? You knew that wasn't going to accomplish anything. You still got mad about it. like what? Or still was upset or frustrated about it. And it's like, you knew it wasn't going to solve anything. It's almost like, you know what I mean? And so it was just weird, like that kind of weird behavior. And I know a lot of people like to say that, oh, well, Steven's a child and Steven does this and that. That's the thing. That's why I calmed down and made this video like this, because it is true. He's a child. The overwhelming amount of control that boy has in his life is crazy. Characters like Steven are attractive to other people because they have this thought of, I don't have control. Now, Steven didn't have control over his emotions, which a lot of people don't, especially at that age, but he had control over most of the things in his life. He could just go wherever he wanted. He could just do whatever he wanted. If he wanted to stomp around, he could do that. Like he could have went to a therapist, went back to the doctor, got help at any time, literally had found someone who actually understands his problems, and he refused to. People were literally trying to help him throughout those entire last episodes, and he could just tell them, no, I don't want help. And they were like, okay, we're always here. I wish any child I knew, including me, had that much control of their life. Even for the simple fact that at the end of the show, he just left in a car. His dad, Connie, the smart one that they nerfed to be dumb, just let him leave in a fucking car. He's 16. He literally went on the road with his dad. What happened to that whole normalcy thing? What happened to that, him wanting that normalcy, that I understood, but he went on the road by himself with no money, probably barely, maybe a half tank of gas, and they just let him go. Barely any education. How does that make sense? You get what I'm saying? Where it's just like, there's so many things that contradict things that have happened just in the few episodes before. It's weird. He had a whole thing about wanting a normal life and being mad at his dad, which he was right for doing that, by the way. Greg is a bad father. He's not a terrible father to where he's like, he just, I'm gonna go get some cigarettes and never came back, but he's a bad father. He's let his 16-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 13-year-old, he let his young son just do whatever he wanted. They lived in a van for a long time. There's these gem people that every time he was about to get killed, his dad just kind of walked away because he was a human. I would die before I let my son get hurt, ever. You going on a mission? Well, I'm going with you. I would have Connied it. Like, I would have trained as hard as I could, got skinny and thin to fight with my son. He did not have a choice to be in this world. So I get why he was mad at that, but it's weird because he was mad and he was talking about the normalcy that he wanted, and that he didn't have this life like he wanted it, like that's what he wanted, but then goes in the complete opposite direction. And I could kind of understand in a sense of, okay, maybe that's how he felt, at the time, but literally when that episode happened, I was kind of glad. I was like, he's kind of been hinting at this throughout the entire show. If you haven't watched this show all the way, he's literally been hinting like, I kind of want this normalcy. I wish I'd have to go through all this. I wish I didn't have to fight these. I wish all of my life was just the fun parts. I want to be a kid. I want to have that normalcy. I was like, yes, that makes sense. That's a consistent thing. But then it kind of just went like, no, he's gonna go on the road by himself. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make sense for his character. It doesn't even make sense that he changed that so rapidly, because he wanted to be. The entire show has him wanting normalcy, wanting to be needed, wanting his loved ones around. About the relationship between him and Connie, all he wanted to do was be close to Connie, be close to people. And that's not a bad thing. He's 16. I think Rebecca Sugar is making, like, she wants his character now to be like an adult, but he is 16 years old. And those people literally let him leave on his own with nothing, but now all of a sudden, it doesn't make any sense. You get what I'm saying? And this message that they spin of that friendship and hugs and kisses and all these things can solve the world, that's not true. You also have to work on yourself. You also can't be a dick to people. And if you are a dick, surprise, they may not want to be around you anymore. And you can't just force your way into that relationship like he did with Jasper, where he kept bothering him, Shim, I don't know. At this point, I'm rambling, so sorry if I get the pronouns wrong. But he kept bothering her constantly because she didn't want to be around him. He literally destroyed everything that it was bad. Everything that she was doing was bad, but he destroyed everything that she saw precious in her life. He literally took away the person that she looked up to, the person that she laid her life down for. And you're bothering her. You don't get to do that. She doesn't want you in her life. You can't push your way in there. Steven is a toxic person. The people Steven is around are toxic people. A Pearl was literally an obsessed person with his mother. His mother didn't even feel that way for Pearl, but she could be obsessive and stalkerish. That's what she was a lot of the time, and that was just okay. And you don't think Steven ever just picked up those habits? He would have. He saw the thing with Greg and Amethyst. Garnet's the only kind of good one, but even then she doesn't even give good advice sometimes. It acts like she doesn't have common sense. She's like Connie, where they kind of nerfed her to where she's dumb now. All these things make this show so bad. And I could go on. Don't get me wrong, I literally wrote a long script in the bathroom how much I hate this show, all the inconsistencies, all the things that make no common sense, all the things that from a child's view, the viewer, could be toxic, gross behavior that they could see as okay, and it's really not. You get what I'm saying? I would say that, they addressed these problems, but they didn't. They didn't really address them. The really important things, like with Pearl, like with Amethyst, like with so many others, she almost, again with the I'm pouting, I'm sorry, that she really just glossed over it. And was just like, well, you're supposed to forgive people if they do something wrong and they show they're sorry, but they really didn't. You get what I'm saying? But the big issues, quote unquote, I say big, like with the biggest air quotes, certain whole episodes explaining and just stuff that doesn't need to be said, and all the stuff that does need to be said is literally never said. It's always left up to interpretation, and kids are stupid. They're gonna come to interpretation. Well, that's okay because Steven did it. So when I saw the ending of this episode, don't get me wrong, Rebecca Sugar is good in the sense of, I say her, but I know there are more people behind this. Her and everybody else, they're good at keeping this emotion, because trust me, I felt what they were trying to give off. I felt the emotion, I felt the thing. I did tear up at the end. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna front. I teared up at the end. I was like, that's sad. I watched Sailor Moon. I cried every time they died. I watch animes and I cry, even though I still kind of hate them with a passion, because you can invoke emotion in me, but I'm not then going to negate the fact that this was shitty. And that's the thing that I don't think people understood in my last video, that I got that this was like, to a child, someone that's not taking this seriously, to someone that's not looking at this with a critical eye like I do with everything. This is a great show, and it's fun to look at, and it's nice, and it's friendly, it has funny jokes, it's just great, it has conspiracy theories. There's so much about this show that I freaking love. There's a reason I watch this show, but as the older I get and the more critical and asshole-ish I got, I just kind of had moments where I just couldn't let things go, you know? And obviously I'm just making a video. If you like the show with me, I don't care. I like having conversations and arguments and discussing things and just seeing your opinions in the comments. I like that. I love that. But if you love this show and you have no problems with it, I do not care. Go ahead, you can love the show. I don't really like it like that, but you can love it. I just have such strong opinions that I like to talk about sometimes. Without all that being said, now my rambling kind of out of the way, remember, even though I hate the show, and a lot of you might hate this show, a lot of you might agree with me that the ending was actual boo-boo garbage, and they probably should have just she should have stopped at Steven Universe and not went to go into the future, because it was a terrible rendition of it. This is a show. I know this is why I'm making a video that you can choose not to watch, you can choose to watch and shit on me in the comments. This is a video, and that is a show. It is a kid's show. It doesn't technically matter. My kids aren't watching it. I don't have kids, but my kids won't be watching it. I would never show this to any of my kids, the kids I babysit, because I would never want them to get the message that this is showing or anything like that. But it doesn't matter if you watch it and you love it and you're like ostrich fox, where you're just like, I just would fucking eat Steven's shit if I could. I don't care. It's a show. With that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.